What's up guys, this is Coach Donny from Elevate Yourself, and I'm a volleyball coach and player who provides educational, inspirational, and entertaining volleyball content. In this video, I'm going to review the Nike Unisex Air Zoom Hyperace 3 SE volleyball shoe, which has to be one of the longest volleyball shoe names in history. But more importantly, was one of the main shoes that the USA men's national team wore at the 2024 Paris Olympics. You couldn't miss the bright orange with spotted patterns, and the funny thing is, when I started wearing the shoe at open gyms, the first thing that people said to me was, "You're wearing the shoe from the Olympics." So it's crazy how much publicity certain brands get just from athletes wearing their gear. Anyways, back to the actual shoe review. First, I was super excited that Nike actually released a new volleyball shoe because their volleyball shoe selection has been quite limited and have essentially been re-releases of older versions like the Hyperace 1 and Hyperace 2, which has virtually no difference other than different colorways. On top of that, Nike is notorious for just releasing basketball shoes with less technology as a volleyball shoe. And the designs have been pretty boring, pretty much looking like your dad's shoes with cheesy names. So it was my absolute pleasure to unbox this shoe and test it out. My first impressions with wearing it for the first time is that it's heavier than the typical Asics and Mizuno shoe, and also a similar weight to some basketball shoes, but I still wouldn't consider this shoe a heavy shoe at all. It also fits quite snug with lots of cushion on the inside, specifically near the top and the sides of the feet. The fit was stiff in the beginning and took about 4 to 5 volleyball sessions to break it in, so this shoe is not playable out of the box. In terms of the look, I love how the sole is made of a translucent material that shows the core pattern. The color of the Nike check on the outside being black and gray on the inside is also a nice touch. Nike did a great job making this shoe look very aggressive, with the overall shapes and lines being angled downward and forward. Even though the fit was snug, I was happy to feel my toes spread comfortably with the wider toe box and ample width for my wide feet. The tongue and upper have a thicker and more padded feel, which helps eliminate any discomfort from the laces and feels extra protective for the top of the foot. The sole is on the stiffer side, which generally helps with your heel to toe roll when performing a hitting approach. However, to my disappointment, the sole did not have any additional springiness, probably because it only has Air Zoom technology in the forefoot instead of full-length Zoom, which is their patented insole technology. Compared to the older Hyperace 2, it maybe had a little bit more spring, but still very average energy return for jumping, agility, and sprinting. For an undersized player like me, I need very high energy return where the sole of the shoe feels extra bouncy and springy to maximize my vertical jump and the first few steps for passing and defense. Because being a shorter player, I have to cover a lot of distance in a short amount of time, and every inch on my block and spike makes a big difference for someone who is only 5'10". That is probably my favorite quality about the Mizuno Wave Momentum 3s, is I felt super light and springy, and I just did a full performance review that you should check out with the link in the description below. On top of feeling limited bounce, the traction of the Nike shoe was only slightly above average, so on cleaner courts, I had no problem gripping the floor, but on courts that were a little bit dusty, the shoe would not be as responsive as I would have liked and would occasionally slip a little. The traction is still decent, and you would probably be fine in most gyms, but they won't feel sticky like some of the gum technology in Asics volleyball shoes, which is how I personally like that type of traction because the shoe will stop and go exactly when you want. If you combine the limited traction and limited springiness, those two qualities made me feel a little slower and less responsive on the court compared to the Wave Momentum 3 and Sky FF Elite volleyball shoes. On the flip side, the shock absorption is really great. I would consider the Adidas Dame 8s to be the best in terms of shock absorption, where I feel like I'm landing on a thick cloud and feel the least amount of impact on my joints. The Hyperace is pretty close to that, but just with a stiffer landing while still dissipating a lot of the landing forces. I actually like the stiffer landing compared to the Dame 8s because I was able to quickly decelerate on ground contact and change direction right away during the transition of a rally. Compared to the Dame 8s, where once I landed, I couldn't transition right away because I felt like my body was still sinking into the shoe due to how thick and soft the sole was. If you're looking to buy new volleyball shoes, then I highly recommend shopping at my favorite volleyball store, All Volleyball, which provides everything from volleyball shoes, jerseys, bags, spandex, balls, training equipment, and more. Use my discount code and link below to get 10% off your entire order and free shipping on orders that are over $100. Another awesome aspect of this shoe is the ankle support and stability. In my opinion, Nike does the best job of this because the outrigger is the perfect width and angle and is reinforced with plastic on the outside, so the edge of your foot cannot push past the side of your shoe. The heel is also reinforced on the outside with some type of plastic or very thick rubber, so your heel is locked in while still feeling comfortable. Actually, your entire foot feels locked in this shoe without feeling suffocated or squeezed, and feels amazing in that respect. I like that the heel to toe drop is not very high, so your foot can be more level with the ground, further creating more stability for your foot and is healthier for your Achilles tendon. The material in the upper is flexible but still durable enough to not feel like your toes are poking out. Or if something rubs the top of your foot, you won't feel the abrasion. I was very impressed with how durable the shoe felt and how much pounding it was able to take and still not deform too much with permanent wrinkles, holes, or twisting of the upper, which is what I felt specifically with the Wave Momentum 3, where after playing in the shoe a couple times, the shoe was already deforming at the top. Even the shoelaces feel a little thicker, which goes in line with the whole extra durability of the shoe. If you've been enjoying this video, please consider joining my channel memberships where you will enjoy members only videos like my initial thoughts when I test new volleyball shoes, early access to all my videos, behind the scenes content, and more. It's also a great way to directly support this channel, so thank you for considering becoming a member. Overall, I would rate this shoe an 8 out of 10. I wonder how this shoe would feel if it had full length zoom and stickier traction, because that would make it a near perfect volleyball shoe because all the other qualities are really good. I always try to remind everyone in my shoe review videos that there's rarely just a good or bad shoe. It really depends on your athlete's needs, movement patterns, body type, and foot structure. But I always do my best to give recommendations based on your needs. If you don't need a super sticky shoe or extra bounce and just want a very solid shoe that is going to protect your ankles and feet, feel good on the knees and back when landing, and can take a beating on the court and still feel comfortable, then this is the shoe for you. I can see why Micah Christensen and Matt Anderson prefer this shoe because at 6'6" and 6'10", you don't really need to be jumping higher or moving faster. You mostly need a shoe that's going to provide a lot of support, shock absorption, especially as the athletes age, and durability so you can execute your skills consistently over a long period of time. Now, if you need a little extra bounce, that quick first step, and super sticky traction, then this is not the shoe for you. I just ordered 3 more Nike volleyball shoes, and I can't wait to test them out and compare all of them together. Don't forget to click that join button below so you can be the first to hear my initial thoughts during my first week of playing in those shoes.